London Ryan Thomas was born on May 10, 2007, in Detroit, Michigan, to parents Jasmine Bennett and Cedric Salisbury. Her parents separated sometime following her birth, and her mother remarried a man named Darnell Johnson. London grew up surrounded by care and stability. Her mother, father, and stepfather deeply cared for her, loved her, and supported her. Those close to her described her upbringing as one that was rooted in strong values, compassion, and emotional support. Her cousin, Danielle Douglas, later remembered London as a vibrant and warm presence, saying, "She had a bright spirit. She was loving, she was caring, full of energy, always the life of the party." London was especially close to her dad. They spoke almost every day, and he described their bond as inseparable. To him, London wasn't just his child, but his best friend. He described her as a kind-hearted soul, saying, "She's a good kid. She's very talented. She's down to earth. Everybody loves her." London attended Beach Elementary before later attending Hilbert Middle School. Friends remembered her as someone who smiled easily and couldn't help but make you smile too. London was intelligent and hardworking. She had a strong interest in music and hairstyling. Despite her young age, London was responsible as well. She almost always had a job. London's warmth was felt across the entire family. Her aunt, Connie Ford, remembered her as naturally caring and selfless. She said, "It shows she was a loving child, well loved. She was happy and friendly. If your hair wasn't done, she'd do it for you. She was just a good kid." That affection was very easy to see in London's relationship with her grandmother, Justina Martin. London would often call her grandmother simply to say that she loved her. Justina cherished her. Her home was filled with photographs of London. Just days before her disappearance, Justina had given her $20 for pizza. But at the time, Justina was unaware that this would be the very last interaction she would ever have with her granddaughter.
London was also seeing Jalen Pendergrass, which was a relationship that her family had never approved of. Jalen was 23 years old, nearly 6 years older than London, who was 17 at the time. London ignored her family's pleas to leave him over and over again, but they must have eventually gotten through to her because around late March to early April, just weeks before her high school graduation, she finally broke things off with him. Approximately 4 a.m. on April 5th, London asked her sister to drive her to the 27200 block of Carlisle Street near Inkster Road in Inkster, Michigan. It should be noted that this is close to Jalen's home. Her sister dropped her off on the street and drove away. Why London went there remains unclear, but whatever the reason was, she was never seen alive after that. When hours passed with no calls or messages, London's sister began to worry. Later that same day on April 5th, she reported London missing to the Inkster police. The next day, London's mother, Jasma, filed an additional missing persons report with the Detroit police. She knew something was wrong. It was not like London to disappear without telling anybody, especially not her sisters, she said. They didn't go a day without talking to each other, no matter where they were or what they did. So all of this is strange. We haven't talked to her. We haven't seen her. We know nothing. Cedric shared the same concerns with the media, saying, "I'm her best friend. She calls me for everything, and I haven't heard from her, and I know something's not right." Later on, London's family also noticed something strange. Her phone was on a family plan, and relatives could view her last known location, and according to her grandmother, the phone last pinged behind the Cooper Elementary School in Westland, Michigan. This location was approximately 6 miles from where London's sister had dropped her off. The school is also bordered by a cemetery, a trailer park, and nearby residential neighborhoods. On one side of the school, there are tall trees and overgrown brush, and suspicious activity could easily go unnoticed there. At first, only the Inkster police were involved in the case, but as things progressed, the Detroit police, Michigan State Police, and even the FBI joined the investigation. At the same time, London's family did everything they could to bring her home safely. They put up flyers throughout the area where London was last seen, as well as near the school where her phone last pinged. Family members also made pleas to the media for London's safe return. The flyer described her as a 17-year-old girl, approximately 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighing 115 pounds, with reddish blonde hair. She was last seen wearing pink Crocs, black leggings, and either a black hoodie featuring a Jason mask or a dark green hoodie with the words 1-800-Mental Health Matters.
Earlier in September of 2021, a woman had posted videos on TikTok alleging that Jalen had essayed her. She claimed the incidents occurred in the same general area where London's phone last pinged. However, these allegations were never substantiated through criminal charges. Even so, after London went missing, the same woman returned to TikTok and expressed fear that Jalen may have harmed another girl. Regardless, London's family remained focused on her safety in return. They made it clear they were not publicly accusing anyone. Her stepfather, Darnell, addressed the situation directly, saying, "Nobody has accused anybody of anything. Not our family. We just want her home. If anybody's pointing fingers, it's people online. It's not our family." London's parents described the ordeal as a nightmare. Cedric organized a community search effort to comb the area where London was last believed to have been seen. At the same time, Crime Stoppers of Michigan announced a $2,500 reward for information related to London's disappearance.
In the days leading up to the search, London's parents also shared her story on Facebook. They weren't optimistic about how much help they would receive, but on Saturday, April 12th, an overwhelming number of people showed up to support the search. Although the effort didn't uncover any new leads, it gave the family hope. Jasmine was moved by the support, saying, "I'm grateful for the community that came out. Friends, family, people on Facebook, friends of family, people I've never even known. I don't even have a social media presence, so it just took me by surprise when everybody came together. It was heartwarming, and it was a blessing." However, the search understandably took an immense toll on London's parents, who described it as the hardest experience of their lives. So far, investigators had only one clear lead. London had last been reported near the home of her ex-boyfriend, Jalen. From the very beginning, London's family suggested that Jalen could be the one responsible, but without concrete evidence, police could not act immediately. As things progressed, police confirmed that London had been at Jalen's residence during the early morning hours of April 5th, 2025. Investigators then made contact with Jalen and his mother, Charla. Both initially denied having anything to do with London's disappearance. Charla even told investigators that she had seen London leave the house that night. However, police later determined this to be false. Police obtained a search warrant which was served on the evening of Thursday, April 17th, nearly 2 weeks after London was last seen. The search was conducted as part of an ongoing investigation into London's disappearance, specifically to determine her whereabouts and gather evidence. While we know now that this house was where Jalen and his mother lived, the police did not publicly release their names. Detroit Major Crimes Commander Rebecca McKay gave a public statement saying, "We are looking into possible foul play. We do have 2 persons of interest right now that we are investigating."
That same day, London's parents organized another community search, expanding the area surrounding the school where her phone had last pinged. As volunteers gathered once again, the emotional weight of the situation became overwhelming for London's parents. Her mother broke down in tears, making a public plea for London to return home safely.
We've been scouring all of the area and, well, mostly of Inkster. We did do Westland from the beginning, and now we think that it's time to come back, bring more awareness, go further out, expand more, do more. Because we don't know what else to do at this time. She'll be 18 in May 10th, and that makes it even worse. It's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I don't know what was gathered from the police when they did the actual raid and search. Thing besides my daughter being back in my home, alive, safe, and well. That is my focus, and I ask you, please, to pray for that. Please, for us and our family, please. Because this is all we have. I need you all. I need you all for that.
When you have all these people also coming out here to help, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel loved. It makes me feel like that is a piece of God that is moving them.
As days passed, the situation grew increasingly unclear. London's stepfather said he was doing everything he could to hold on to hope. The family was deeply frustrated by what they described as a lack of cooperation from Jalen during the search. London's aunt, Yolanda Douglas, voiced these concerns publicly, saying, "All of these lies just to push us away from what we're trying to do, and more stuff is coming out." And then you have people coming from any and everywhere that want to direct you into different directions. That's what's bringing my sister down. We don't need all of that. We just need to know right here, what did you do with her? You were the last person seen with her. What's going on and where is she at? Although the Pendergrass family wasn't charged with any crimes, police had their suspicions, and their lies could not stay hidden forever.
On April 26th, nearly 3 weeks after London was last seen, any remaining hope of finding her alive was lost. Investigators discovered London Thomas's decomposing body inside an SUV parked in the driveway of a home in the area of Millard Street and Berg Road in Southfield, Michigan. The Inkster Police Department had received a tip from an individual that was an acquaintance of Charla Pendergrass. The individual told investigators that Charla had asked for help moving a sealed plastic container with unknown contents. The container was placed inside the SUV on April 11th, weeks before London's body was discovered. London's remains were transported to the Oakland County Medical Examiner's office where an autopsy was conducted. The medical examiner determined that London died from asphyxia, and the manner of death was ruled a homicide.
Following this major breakthrough, Jalen and his mother Charla were taken into custody. At that time, police still did not publicly release their names, only stating that they had 2 persons of interest in the case. Michigan State Police Lieutenant Mike Shaw addressed the public, stating, "Our condolences go out to the family and friends of London. While a majority of the investigation has been completed by DPD and the FBI, there is still work to do. Our number one goal is to bring justice for London and her family. In order to accomplish this goal, we will not be releasing any further information on this investigation at this time." Following the discovery of London's body, her family gathered for a candlelight vigil to honor her life. London's father, Cedric, stood alongside dozens of loved ones as they mourned her and called for justice. Overcome with grief, he shared his pain publicly, saying, "Justice for London for me means everything right now. I'm so heartbroken. I need answers. I have no answers. I want answers." London's aunts and her grandmother expressed gratitude that she had been found, though not in the way which they had prayed for. The family were still haunted by unanswered questions. The most important one, why? Why was London killed? And why wouldn't police release the names of the 2 suspects in custody? London's grandmother, Justina Martin, said she wanted those responsible to be held fully accountable. In an interview held days after London's body was found, she broke down in tears remembering her granddaughter.
I understand London was a really special girl, full of life. How would you describe her?
That was my baby. I just want my baby back. Oh, God. It's the hardest thing ever. Oh, God. Just been trying to be strong. Oh, God. Not knowing what she went through. That kills me the most. What she went through. I just don't know.
On Thursday, May 1st, both suspects, Jalen and his mother Charla, appeared in court and were later released. The following day, Charla was rearrested and formally charged with lying to a peace officer. According to Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, Pendergrass failed to tell the truth to FBI agents while they were conducting a criminal investigation into the death of London Thomas. Lying to a police officer during an investigation is a felony offense with a maximum sentence of up to 4 years in prison. Charla's bond was set at $50,000 cash. If released, she was required to wear a GPS monitor. In addition to the bond conditions, Charla was ordered to surrender her passport, remain within the state of Michigan, and have no contact with any witnesses involved in the investigation.
On Monday, August 4th, 2025, the charges against Charla were officially dropped due to a legal technicality involving the status of the officers who conducted her interviews. During the hearing, Assistant Wayne County Prosecutor Dominic DeGrazia explained that under Michigan law, the FBI agents who interviewed Charla did not legally qualify as peace officers. Because the statute specifically applies to false statements made to peace officers, the prosecution argued that the charge could not stand. He stated, "It's alleged that the defendant made these false statements to 2 special agents from the FBI. I've communicated with them. Neither one of them were ever licensed as a police officer in the state of Michigan. There were no other law enforcement agents present when this interaction occurred. There are some statutes that would permit a federal agent to be authorized to be a police officer, but however, the way the legislature wrote this statute, I don't believe that trying to proceed under that theory would survive appellate review. The charge against Charla was dismissed without prejudice. Charla was allowed to roam free, but it wouldn't be long before that would change.
On October 16th, prosecutors announced that 23-year-old Jalen and his mother, 49-year-old Charla, were both formally charged with second-degree murder and tampering with evidence in connection with the death of London Thomas. Prosecutor Worthy addressed the public, stating, "I am proud of the excellent work that has been done in this case. It has taken countless hours of investigation and diligent work by the Michigan State Police, the Detroit Police Department, and the FBI. As a result of that work, we've been able to charge and bring the perpetrators of this cruel and deadly crime to justice." London's stepfather, Darnell, said he had always suspected Jalen's involvement in her disappearance. To him, the charges only confirmed what he and others had felt all along. Darnell also spoke about the pain of accepting how much cruelty someone could inflict on a young person. Since London's death, he has honored her by getting a tattoo in her memory. Cedric expressed both relief and gratitude, telling the public, "Just so happy and praised for this moment because it's long overdue. We all knew that they did something, and we're just happy that the light has been shown and thankful. Hopefully they did a thorough investigation, and maybe that's why it took so long, and we can move forward and wrap this up so my daughter can rest in peace now." London's grandmother also shared the same sentiments, saying she wanted justice for her granddaughter, and that those responsible should face the maximum possible punishment. Both Charla and Jalen were arraigned at 9 a.m. on Friday, October 17, 2025, in Inkster's 22nd District Court before Judge Sabrina Watson. Charla was upgraded to a $5 million cash bond. Jalen, however, was held without bond due to additional charges pending against him in Oakland County. In a separate case, he was accused of filing a false police report in November of 2024. The charge carries a maximum sentence of up to 4 years. Wayne County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Dominic DeGrazia stated that investigators believe the evidence will clearly show a sustained effort to mislead law enforcement. He said the following, "This is a case where the evidence, I believe, will be abundant that both defendants, but in particular, Ms. Charla Pendergrass, engaged in an extended campaign to lie to the police, lie to law enforcement to cover up her actions. Jalen's defense attorney, Adam Clements, urged to let the evidence play itself out and respect the process." Meanwhile, Charla's attorney, Terry L. Johnson, expressed confidence in his client's defense. He characterized the case as nothing more than a rehash of earlier allegations, saying it looked like the same recycled case from April when they couldn't prove anything, referring to when she had been previously detained and later released. Attorney Johnson added that he did not believe prosecutors would be able to meet the burden of proof and insisted that his client would ultimately be shown to a jury to be not guilty. Despite the opposing narratives, the case remains ongoing. Both Charla and Jalen Pendergrass are scheduled to appear in court for preliminary examinations on January 23, 2026. Both of us are going to be keeping an eye out for updates because we've wanted to talk about London's story for a while now, and as the trial hasn't even begun yet, both Charla and Jalen are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
On May 10, 2025, the day London would have turned 18, her family was instead forced to bury her. Rather than letting the day be consumed by grief alone, they chose to honor her life. Loved ones gathered at Claude Allison Park in Redford Township to celebrate who London was and remember her for her loving nature. The memorial was attended by family members, friends, and members of the community. Despite the heartbreak, there was warmth in the air. Children shared ice cream, posters of London were displayed throughout the park, and for a moment, her spirit felt present.
And friends gathered to celebrate what would have been her 18th birthday, but instead of celebrating with her, they're honoring her life.
I'm joyful just because I know it's her birthday, and this is what she would have wanted. Any 18-year-old would have loved this.
Jasmine Bennett had to bury her daughter, London Thomas, on the same day she gave birth to her.
It is a waking nightmare to have your child that you carried for 10 full months to be ripped away from you.
We thank everybody who gave us the time to, try to find London. And we hate that everything happened the way it happened, but today we just need justice.
We want justice. She didn't deserve that. No child deserves this.
London's uncle, Darius Hatcher, said, "You know, we really miss her, we really love her, and we do have a sense of peace and comfort to a certain extent with today. And we're just trying to make it as happy as possible as opposed to the tragedy that's set before us. So we're trying to remember the fun and happy times." London's mother, Jasma, also shared similar remarks, saying, "She loved everyone. And by this turnout, from what you see, her love spread far."
If London's case resonated with you, then please click here to check out the ongoing case of Naziah Harris. She's also from Detroit and another teen girl who is still currently missing.